All right, let's pull back the curtain on one of the biggest mysteries of the working world, your salary. How is that number actually decided? I mean, it can feel like it's just pulled out of a hat, but as you're about to see, there's a really complex and deliberate system at play.
Seriously, think about it for a second. Is it about what you asked for? Or maybe what the last person in your role made? Or is it something else entirely? It's a question that affects pretty much all of us, but the real answer is usually hidden behind closed doors.
Well, here's the truth. For most big companies, setting your pay isn't just guesswork. Nope. It's a very deliberate, strategic process. It's kind of like a science, a blend of data, analysis, and overall business strategy. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it all works.
So companies call this thing a market competitive pay system. That sounds a little dry, so let's think of it more like a quest. It's the company's big search for that perfect salary number, the one that will attract you, keep you happy, and still make sense for their bottom line.
The key idea here is alignment. It's all about balancing what the company needs internally with what the rest of the market is willing to pay. And believe me, this isn't just some HR task. It's a huge part of a company's competitive advantage. If you get it right, you get the best people. But if you get it wrong, well, your top talent is probably heading for the door.
This whole quest really breaks down into four main parts. First, they do some strategic analysis, looking at the big picture. Then, they go out and gather data with compensation surveys. After that, they have to integrate that data with their own internal job structure. And finally, they develop a company-wide policy. So let's walk through this roadmap, one step at a time.
Okay, so the first two steps are all about looking outward. Before a company can even think about what to pay you, it has to know what everyone else is paying people who do similar jobs. And this is where those compensation surveys come in.
You can kind of think of it like corporate spying, but, totally legal. Companies are basically gathering intelligence on their competitors. They want to know everything: the base pay, bonus structures, even the benefits packages being offered for jobs just like yours. It's all about understanding that competitive landscape.
Now, companies have a couple of options here. They could hire a big consulting firm to create a super specific custom survey just for them. That gives them perfect, high-quality data, but it costs a ton of money. The other option is to use published surveys that are already out there. They're way cheaper and faster, but the data might not be a perfect match for their specific jobs. It's a classic trade-off, really, cost versus precision.
So, where's all this published data coming from? Well, it's collected by all sorts of organizations. You've got your big-name consulting firms like Mercer, professional associations, industry groups, and even government agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's a whole industry built around gathering and selling this salary info. Okay, so once a company has a good idea of what the outside market looks like, it's time to turn inward. They need a system to connect all those external salary numbers to their own unique set of jobs. This is where they start looking inside the building.
They do this through a process called job leveling. And a fun way to think about it is like you're creating a character in a video game. Every single job gets points based on different attributes, like the skills it requires, how complex the problems are, your level of responsibility. The more demanding the job, the higher its point score.
Let's take one factor as an example: the physical environment. So a comfortable desk job that isn't very strenuous and has low risk, that might only get 10 points. But a job that's physically demanding and has high risk, that could get 100 points for just that one factor alone. They do this across a whole bunch of factors to build a total score for every role in the company.
So after adding up all the points for a job's knowledge, complexity, responsibility, and all that, you get a final score, and that score places the job into a specific internal level or grade. So for example, an accountant 1 might be a level 5, but a senior accountant could be a level 7.
And now for the magic trick. How do they connect their internal points to the external market dollars? They use a statistical tool called regression analysis. This is the absolutely crucial step that links a job's internal worth to what it's actually worth out there in the market.
Whoa, okay, don't get scared by the math on the screen. You really don't need to worry about the formula itself. The most important thing to know is that this formula creates what's called a pay line. It's a simple but really powerful tool. You just put in a job's point score, and this line predicts what the market salary for that job should be. It's the thing that turns an abstract internal value into a concrete dollar amount.
And that brings us to the final step. The company has done its outside research, it's scored all its jobs on the inside, and it has this cool pay line that connects the two. Now, they have to make a choice.
That pay line we just saw, that represents the market average. But here's the thing, a company doesn't have to follow it exactly. They have to decide,
Do we want to pay exactly what the market pays? Or do we want to pay more, or maybe even a little less? This is a huge strategic decision.
And that big decision usually falls into one of three buckets. A company can choose to lead the market, match the market, or lag the market. And each one of these choices has major implications for who they can hire and how they compete.
Okay, let's break this down. A market match policy, that's the 50th percentile, means a company aims to pay right at the market average, more than half the competition and less than the other half. It's a solid, competitive stance. A market lead policy, on the other hand, often targets the 75th percentile. This means they are intentionally paying more than 75% of their competitors. These are the companies trying to get the absolute best talent out there. And then there's market lag. Yep, these companies pay below average, and they usually try to make up for it with other things, like great benefits, stock options, or just an awesome company culture.
So here's the biggest takeaway from all of this. Your paycheck is a direct reflection of your company's overall strategy. Is it a premium brand that needs the absolute best employees? Well, it probably leads the market. Is it a low-cost provider trying to save money? It might lag. The number on your paycheck is deeply, deeply connected to how your company sees itself in the world.
So there you have it, the science behind the salary. It's a four-step process of looking outside, valuing what's inside, doing a little math, and then making a big strategic decision. Now that you know the system, when you think about your own job and your own company, does your pay make a little more sense?